I'm gonna record. Um, how were your travels? Everything good? Everyone safe and healthy?
Yes, pretty good. I got back late last night and Delta lost my luggage, but they
No
just
way.
so
You got it back?
yeah, just now.
Okay. Oh my God, I'm happy to hear that. That's so
Yeah.
scary. Well, I'm glad everyone is safe and healthy. That's what always matters when it's traveling, right?
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I'm super excited for these next few days with you. I've been thinking a lot about what we're going to do and how we're going to do it. How do you feel? Like, I would love to just kind of get a sense of where you're at and how you feel going into these next few days.
I am just excited and grateful and ready for ready for some help, you know? I feel like
Yeah.
I've been doing this on my own and I've been very, very determined for a long period of time, but
Mm-hmm.
it's helpful to have it's helpful to have help and like another set of
Yeah.
eyes and another set of ears and then just the community so that I can actually move forward and share this message, which is what I want to do. So
Yeah. Okay, well, I'm excited. So I want to just kind of give you an overview of what these next few days are going to look like so you kind of you understand and there's no confusion. And another thing that I want to mention is that this is a very collaborative process, right? So if we're going down one way and you're like, Macy, I think I actually need to pull back a little bit and I think we need to go this way a little bit, right? I think I need more help in this part of the talk, or I think I need this more questions here. I want you to stop me at any time and say, hey, can we spend more time on this? Can we work more on this? Because this is for you, right? It's not for me. I have an agenda and I have an idea, but I want you to feel like you have a say and you're getting the most value that you possibly can. Does that make sense?
yep, okay.
Okay, so over the next 3 days, what we're going to work on is kind of your talk formula. So we're going to work on how are you going to format your talks from here on out. And what's really great about a talk formula like this is that you can use it for your 60-second pitch. You can use it for 3 minutes. You can use it for 15, 20, 45, 4-hour workshops, right? Because this is the best way to give people the slice about you while also telling them to take action with you. And that's what's important, right? Is you like want to
Okay.
invoke that change. Is that under my understanding as well?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. So today specifically, I really want to get set clear on your goals, learn a little bit more about what you're doing, what has been holding you back, and kind of what you've been trying up until now.
uh
We'll go into it. We'll go into it, but I just want to get just tell you what today is going to be about it. Make
okay.
sense? Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So firstly, is it okay if I share just a little bit about my backstory just so you
Sure.
kind of understand a little bit about where I'm coming from and maybe you can resonate with something that I've done in the past.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what a little bit about me, pretty simply. I mean, I've been speaking, I think the first ever talk I gave, believe it or not, was at my dad's seminar when I was 9 years old. And it was the first talk I ever gave in front of an audience that weren't my parents. And it was basically my dad. He knew that I liked talking. He knew I liked performing. And he's like, why don't you just come? He did monthly webinar or monthly seminars in person. He said, why don't you just come spend 5 minutes and just talk about something you loved, which at the time was my American Girl dolls. So I got up on stage. I had all my American Girl dolls. I had all my items. And I was 9 and I was scared and I didn't prepare and I just kind of bombed. But the audience was so forgiving and it really started to give me that rush of what did it really mean to be on stage. So then from there, I spent classes and classes years in different types of public speaking classes for my age, middle school and then high school. I competed a little bit. I did Toastmasters and all of those things. And now obviously I went through TEDx. And I think the biggest thing I learned through all of those years is just kind of the evolution of how to present a story, right? Like when I was first writing a talk, I didn't prepare when I was 9 years old because obviously I was 9. But the other aspect was like, I don't know how to write. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to say any of these things. And then I went through multiple classes of not having great talks because I didn't want to write. I didn't want to sit down and I didn't want to write it all out. I just thought, I'm a good speaker. I can go up there and wing it. And then I very quickly learned you cannot wing it. You can't just go up and start talking. It's not going to work. So now over the past, year or so, I've kind of really perfected the way that you deliver information is so vital to how people understand and how people take action from it. Does that kind of make sense?
Hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
So Awesome. So that's just a little bit about my story. So are you excited? Are you ready to get started and just get the
Yes.
most out of these next sessions?
Yes, let's do it.
Okay. So very quickly, I want to go over a few housekeeping things. Is that okay?
Yep.
So number one, here's some expectations you can have from me. So you can expect number one that I'm going to provide kind of a safe space. I feel like safe space is not maybe the greatest word, but I just want you to feel like every question is a good question, every idea is a good idea, and I want this to be as open dialogue as possible. And I don't want you to ever feel like, oh, I can't say that. Macy's going to make fun of me. Like I never want someone to feel like that. Does that make sense?
Sure.
And then number two, a very clear expectation. You can expect me to turn up on time. You know, we got on at 11 o'clock our time. And if you're on a few minutes early, I usually try to keep the Zoom room open a few minutes early. But if I can't, definitely being on time. And then the third thing is I would like for you to know that I want to be the coach you need, not the coach you want. And we can talk a little bit about more what that means. But basically, I want to make sure that it's all about your story and how to impact people, and it's not so much about the other things we tend to obsess over. Does that make sense? And I really want to pull that out of you.
Yep.
All
Hmm.
right. And so just a few expectations I have for you is number one, be open for change. I mean, I know you, my dad speaks so highly of you, Kendra speaks so highly of you. I know that you are an open-minded type of person, but I just want you to be like, this might be a different way to reframe it, and I'm open to learning why it's a good way. Is that okay?
Sure. Yeah.
Number two is do the work. You strike me as someone who is very determined, like you mentioned, to get all of these done and really get your message out there. So there's going to be just a little bit of homework after these calls where you'll just kind of think a little bit more, you'll dwell on it a little bit more, and you might write some more stuff down. And I really want you to be open for something like that.
Okay.
And number three is just kind of take full ownership and get out of your way. So you know that we're on this earth not for our purpose, right? But for God's purpose. And it sounds like what I understand about you is that you really want to help other people understand that as well. So I think if you and I can remove our ego, and I'm not saying you have one, but really understand like, hey, we are here to serve him and put that message out there. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Awesome. Does any of that, are there any questions about anything I just said?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So the final ask I have is, should by the end of these three sessions, if your expectations were exceeded, would it be too much to ask for a review?
No, not at all.
Awesome. And if you really loved it, would it be okay if I asked for two referrals of someone who you thought could value from the same
Oh,
experience?
yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. And then finally, if you learned so much and you really want to keep going, you don't want the experience to stop, would it be okay if we had another conversation about what next steps would look like to work with me on a longer term basis?
Sure.
Perfect. So now we're going to move on a little bit because I want to really get a sense about you and your goals. So we're going to start with, if you and I were to have coffee 12 months from now, and I asked you, how is the speaking business going? Are you getting the engagements you want, stuff like that? What would you like to ideally report?
Um, that I am, that people are talking about me and that I am getting requests to
Okay.
speak at events around the country.
So people are talking positively and they're sharing it with their friends, and you're just getting kind of almost overwhelmed by requests of being like, my church needs to hear from Sarah.
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah. And why is that important to you?
because my life has been so radically changed. Um, and I know of many, many people
Hmm.
who are struggling.
Yeah.
And I just feel like this is a message that needs to be told
Hmm.
more often to more people.
Yeah.
And my story, especially, I think, is impactful because it's just so massive.
Hmm. Definitely. Absolutely. And just curious, why now?
Why now?
Yeah, like why are you most compelled to give it now, as in terms of you could easily shelve a story like this and come back in 10 years and be like, now I'm ready to share. Why
Oh
is it
no,
important to share
it's
now?
already been too long.
Gotcha. Yeah.
It's already been too long. Like I've been wanting to do this. I've been wanting to do it for years. Uh,
Oh.
but but it's just like I feel more emboldened now,
Yeah.
and
Hmm.
I feel stronger now. I just, when I really wanted to share this was when cities were burning. When cities were burning and the election was all in chaos and all the political
Mm.
stuff was going on, that was when I really, really wanted to share this. And I
Oh.
felt very afraid.
I'm just curious, what was making you feel afraid? What was preventing you?
Oh, just all the political,
Okay. Yeah.
like, stuff against conservatives and Christians and
Yeah.
just, God is not a cool subject. Surrendering to Jesus is not going to give
Right.
anybody any popularity points. And especially during that time, I just felt like, and during COVID and just all the lockdowns and the shutdowns, and just like I was okay. I was really close with, like, my life had been saved, and I was very, very grateful. I just felt like it wasn't the climate,
Mm-hmm.
I guess, to
Yeah.
go all out. And plus I wasn't strong.
Yeah.
Like mentally and physically, I wasn't strong yet. I was
Yeah.
building my strength. Um, but I have been working on my physical strength. I have been working
Mm,
on my mental strength. I have
that's
been
great.
working on my everything. And
Yeah.
I just feel like the time is now. Like my
Yeah,
house is empty. I'm an empty nest. My kids are grown and gone, and this is my time to do this.
definitely. Just curious, was there any other problem that was preventing you from achieving this, or was that it seems like you put in a lot of work for it, so I don't want to discount that by any means.
No, no, no. It's just no, it's just a
Okay.
lot of
Yeah.
a lot of work, and a lot of, like, just a lot of stuff all at once.
Makes sense. Makes
Like
sense. And I can hear
kids
that.
and
Yeah.
house and marriage and traveling and
It's a
aging
lot. Yeah.
parents, and I have this jewelry business, and so I'm like
Sure.
keeping the jewelry business going and making jewelry and customers and social media and marketing and learning, and
Oh, yeah. So yeah, you had your plate full for a
it's
very
just a
long
lot of
time.
balls. It's a lot of balls in the air.
Gotcha. I'm curious to know, what have you tried in the past to make this work when it comes to your speaking?
Um, Nothing.
Okay. So you weren't in any, obviously I know that you do a lot, obviously, with my dad, and we have the 2-day event, but are you currently in any other program to help you with this?
No.
Okay.
No,
Is,
I have done a couple of speaking engagements by invitation. I
mm,
did a women's luncheon. I did like a keynote for a women's group for a national annual conference that was here in Clearwater Beach.
okay,
Um,
awesome.
and then I've done speaking in my family at funerals,
Mm.
like the funeral speaker. Um,
Because they know you have the heart for something like that. They know that you'll have the right words. I think that's very special, even
right,
if
right. I mean,
it's
and
a
like when
little
I was in
heavy,
high
but
school and stuff, I spoke. I was on student
yeah, sure,
council and I
sure,
gave
sure.
speeches and all of that stuff. But lately, and since my recovery, well, yeah, I've spoken a few times since my recovery, but I haven't done it as, like, it hasn't been my main focus.
Gotcha.
And I would like it to be.
Yeah.
I would like to move in that direction.
And we're gonna get you
Because I feel
there.
like I could reach more people
Mm,
that
yeah,
way, and that's what
yeah,
I want to do.
that's amazing. Um, is there anything that you're afraid of trying or maybe not willing to try to achieve this goal?
No.
Okay. If you were to, get on those stages and if you were to be that referred speaker, would there be anything you're afraid of happening?
Um, I don't think there's anything that I'm afraid of that I'm not in control over.
That's a great way to put it. I love that way of putting it because you're so right. There's so many things that we can't control, and it's not worth it to get obsessive over them, right?
Right. I mean, I don't
Yeah.
want to, I don't, I know Kendra is like flying all around and speaking all the time, and she's in all these cities.
Yeah.
I don't want to do that. But you
Okay.
know what? I can have a say.
Yeah.
Oh, I can have a say and where I
Exactly.
go and how often I go. And if I want to be home, I can be home.
Exactly. And there's so many online things nowadays, right? That
Yeah.
it makes it such a so easy and such a no-brainer. Um, but awesome. So it's thank you so much for sharing all that with me because I think it really helps me frame how we can go about it and what our end goal is. And I'm really excited because I've kind of been working on this formula, what I think makes the most sense for something like this. So we're going to explain it now, and then that's what we're going to spend the next, 2 days, the rest of the 2 days working on is basically you getting a very full picture of the formula. And most importantly, how does it flow together? Because I think sometimes that's the hardest part is how does it flow together? So today's going to be the overview, and then we're going to go more deep and specific with stories like how do you switch it out? How do we make it short? How do we make it long? And all those questions that you might have. So
Okay.
here's the way that I see it. I'm going to give you the overview, and this is what um, I do personally. So it'll be funny. You can go back and watch, like maybe if you want to watch my TEDx talk or my brother's TEDx talk or my dad's, like any of our, like we've kind of followed that
I
similar
watched both of
format.
them. I haven't
Oh,
watched your dad's, but I watched yours and your brother's.
thank you. I appreciate that. But it's really funny, like when I was kind of doing it and then I watched other people do it, I'm like, I see why this is a great format. So I'm just curious for you that when you watch other speakers, when you watch other talks, is there ever, maybe there's a specific speaker, but is there ever something, how do I want to make sure I phrase this the right way? Especially with, I think maybe sermons, because that's probably the closest style of talk that you're going to do. And I'm not saying you're doing a sermon,
With maybe what? What did you call it?
like a sermon.
A sermon. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because I would say that's kind of the closest way of how you will give a talk versus maybe a tech person will give a talk, right? It's going to be
Right.
slightly different. And I'm
Right.
not saying you're doing a sermon, but obviously it's going to be a lot about faith. It's going to be a lot about that.
Yeah.
Um, is that what are the elements to you that make a great talk? Maybe let me ask you that.
Um, well, I mean, I know what your dad said about the hook and the struggle and the transformation and
Yeah,
but yeah, the hook, the struggle, the moment that changed everything, the legacy and the invitation.
perfect. Well, yeah, I'm so glad you watched that video. That's pretty much essentially what we're going to be doing, but we're going to do it a little bit differently. So, the best way that I have found to hook people, right? You can have so many different types of hook, exist, right? There are fear hooks, there are shocking hooks, there are basically a hook is to, I think of things very literally, right? If you ever think of a giant hook, like a hook pulling a fish out of the water,
Hmm.
pulling something towards you, right? Having pull people in is I actually like positive hooks. I want people to come feel like they want to come on this journey with you, right? You want to build rapport with them, right? When you first get to know someone, you don't say, "Hi, my name is Sarah," and you don't just go immediately into, I shouldn't be alive right now. Did you know this? They're going to be like, "What are you talking about?" They're going to be like confused. They're going to be like, "What? I just met you. Why are you dumping this onto me?" Right?
Hmm.
So, how I recommend people start off hooks is you want to start them off with something fun. Like, let's have fun together. So, we're gonna kind of pull them into maybe that before aspect of your life with kind of a clever-ish way to do that. Does that make sense?
Actually, yes. You know what? I just heard Dr. Abby Johnson speak.
Okay.
Do you know her?
It sounds familiar, but I don't know if I've seen her talk.
She's
Maybe.
really big in the pro-life
Hmm.
movement right now.
I'm
And
sure I've seen her. My dad is very big in all of those circles and I've watched a lot of things, but um her talk maybe isn't coming to me.
like I don't want to derail your train of thought, but her her experience is all about the horrors that she saw at Planned Parenthood
Mm-hmm.
and abortion,
Mm. Yes, and I think I do know her. Yeah,
all of that.
so much.
But the way that she started out her talk was exactly what you're saying. She started talking about her kids and she was saying all kinds of funny things about her kids and how one kid was like chewing gum that he had picked up from underneath the chair and the
Right.
whole place was laughing.
Yeah.
Then she wove into, very slowly, she wove into the harder stuff.
Yeah.
So you're,
And how did you
oh,
feel in the audience?
we were
Did you like
just
the
like eating her up. Everybody was laughing. We were hanging on every word. And it was just, yeah,
So okay, I'm so glad then that you see it immediately. I think sometimes it takes you, but I was thinking about this too when I talk about sermons. Is like our pastor at our church at home. He always pretty much starts with maybe not the first thing he says out of his mouth because obviously you have church announcements and things like that. But the first real part of the sermon is him talking about maybe something funny that happened with his granddaughter. Or I remember very vividly a story about him, running out of gas and he had to push his car into, right, the what's it called, the gas station, right, and it was one of those things where you realize like you're not filling up your cup enough with Jesus, that you're running off empty fumes, right, so it's
yep,
it's easy for you to relate to those sermons because he had this story that pulled you in
yep,
and you stayed there with him and now you start to go down and that's the second part is now you're going to bring people and you're not going to necessarily bring people through the ups and downs of your life and stuff. I almost want to think of it as like, where was that moment when you realized something had to change? What was your rock bottom? That's where you're going to pull people into that. You're slowly coming to a rock bottom. Does that make sense?
yep,
Yeah, and it might not be, and obviously our stories are long and our stories have nuances and complexities, but if your talk is only 15 minutes, we can't go into something like that. If it's 45 minutes, 2 hours, yeah. But you're gonna bring people into that down. But then I think something that happens a lot is people stay in that down. People want to stay in that down. The speakers themselves are like, well, you have to see I went through this and this and this. But unfortunately, as an audience member, you don't want to stay down that long, do you? You want to kind of come out of this. And that's because that's a huge part of your talk is that transformation, the thing that clicked in your brain. Um, After is like, I have something to live for now. Like I have a purpose. God put me on this purpose. Because is that what your talk is really about? Like let me ask you, I want you to think about this. When you finish your talk, you can finish 15, 20, 30, 9 hours talk, however you say it. When you get off the stage and an audience member comes up to you, what do you want them to say or how do you want them to feel or what do you want them to do?
I want them to realize that they can have a better life here and now.
Okay. And how do you recommend that they do that?
Put God first.
Put God first, and how do you want them to put God first? What does that mean for you?
Um, that means it means that they believe and read and follow the Bible, like do what he tells them to do.
Mm-hmm.
Pray without ceasing, be grateful. Um,
Let me ask you, what was like the first thing you did when that clicked for you that you were like, I'm ready to fully surrender?
I'm not sure what you mean.
So, the way that I see it, because especially at a church, there are all types of people that go there. So, there are non-believers, there are new believers, and there are believers who are passionate. They've been believers for a very long time. They're bold with their faith. But then you even have people who have been a Christian for a very long time and they're believers, but maybe they're not as super active in the church, right? Maybe they still don't they read their Bible only once a month or once a week kind of thing.
Mhm.
So we kind of want to have the best way I say it is when you finish giving a talk, I think the highest compliment is if someone comes up to you and says, Sarah, thank you so much for sharing this. Because of your talk and how you've inspired me, I am going to read, you know, read for 10 minutes in the morning because that's a great reminder for me. Or I'm going to have a gratefulness journal. Or I am going to start praying more boldly because you taught me. Like, what is something that do you, number one, do you see that as a compliment? Like, do you see that that is how you want people to respond to you?
Yeah, and that's how people have been responding to me.
What do people normally say?
Usually they tell me that my faith inspires them and that
Mm-hmm.
help them to get through hard times in their life and that they appreciate what I'm doing and what I'm saying and what I'm sharing.
That's awesome. Do you want them to have, I think talks are very powerful when they have an action item, right? Like, for example, taking Abby Johnson, and I'm not talking about her talk because I don't know anything about how she speaks, but
Right.
if her whole thing is about being pro-life, right? And if she said, ladies, if this 45 minutes has changed your life and you realized, yes, life is powerful, I want you to
She's
start, like,
raising money.
form,
So
she's raising money. Okay,
she's
that
raising
can.
money. So she just told people to take out their checkbooks.
Are you gonna raise money? Is that what you want people to do? To take out their checkbooks?
No, no, no. I'm not gonna
Yeah, yeah,
raise
yeah.
money.
Okay, okay.
No.
But if she said, ladies, if you realize that Planned Parenthood has got to go and you know that life is precious and we have to protect it, I want you to, here's what you can start doing to make a change other than donate money. So say she said, start a group of women, like a group of women start a group in your local church and you could go out and do something. You can make a change or, make one post on your social media reminding people that you are pro-life, right?
Hmm.
Is that like, do you see that as an action that you'd be like, yeah, I can understand why she'd be telling me to do this? Like, she's telling me what to do. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. We listened to her speak and we just were blown away by her and we didn't give her all our money, but we gave her a lot of money. Like she was really powerful and
Yeah.
her
And
talk was really powerful and her cause is really powerful. And so that's
yeah.
what we did.
Well, let
But
me
I'm
ask
not
you.
trying to do anything churchy.
Okay,
My focus is really to encourage a one-on-one relationship between my listener and God.
perfect. How are they going to do that?
And I have been the non-believer
Mm-hmm.
for most of my life. I was a
Mm-hmm.
non-believer. I have been like, I believe in God, but I'm not like a Jesus person.
Mm-hmm.
I have been I believe in God, but I don't really think that he knows me or cares about me. I have been I'll just try to be a good person and go to church
Yeah.
kind of Christian. I have been a very like lukewarm. I think most people are lukewarm. They're very
Yeah.
just like, like they check the boxes or they want to think they're a good person or they
Yeah.
just kind of mostly do it, sort of, sometimes when they think of it.
Yeah.
No,
No.
that's not what the Bible says.
No.
The Bible doesn't say like do it sometimes a little bit.
Yeah. No,
It's
I
like
love
do it
that.
when you wake up and do it when you're walking and do it when you go to sleep and put God above everything else. And when I followed the directions literally, I mean, I have healed from trauma that's 54 years old. I came from a very, very broken home. My mother was seriously mentally ill. I haven't seen or heard from her in many, many years.
Yeah.
I just carried a lot of pain and hurt and shame and like rejection and abandonment and all of this stuff for my whole life. But through this experience, through my journey with God and my recovery and the way that he appeared to me and the way that he taught me and the way that he showed me literally to read and follow the Bible, I feel better than I ever have in my whole life. I just
Yeah.
feel like all of this weight is off my shoulders. I feel like I just feel so alive. I feel alive
Mm-hmm.
and excited and hopeful and strong and courageous and just it's just wonderful.
Yeah. That's amazing.
But
And I am seeing, I think it's like really clicking me how it, because there were a few things that you mentioned. So number one, you want the ultimate goal is to be you want to encourage people to have a one-on-one relationship with God.
yes, that's it.
That's good. And
Mhm.
you mentioned three things. You might have to refresh me, but it was something like I think praying and being grateful, and then I think there was a third thing.
I've kind of figured out, I've been trying to distill it.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
really, it's about joy and gratitude.
Okay.
And it's about language and mindset.
Okay.
And it's about self-care as worship.
I love that. And I see that. Here's how I see it. And also, we're at 11:32. I would like to
Yep.
spend a few more minutes if you have a few more minutes so I
Yep.
can kind of wrap up the session really in a good way and then give you something for you to kind of think about and work on until tomorrow. Is that good? You still have a few
Yep.
more minutes? Okay, cool. Um, is that here's how I see the overall format, right? Is number one, you start with like some great story, and we can talk about more about what that story means to you and the different stories you can use, right? And then you kind of talk about that turning point, right? When is it like when you're recovering or when you're sick? I don't know when that exact turning point for you was, but you can kind of bring people, pull them into, you know, you can kind of also talk about like, yeah, it was 50 years I've been an unbeliever, but it was like that moment that I
I have
realized I
two moments. I have the moment that I first surrendered to Jesus, which was like
mm-hmm,
13 years ago.
mm-hmm,
And then I started my jewelry company
mm-hmm.
because I had realized that God was real and I wanted to tell people. And then there was the aneurysm rupture that just took all of my faculties away from me. So I
And
had
what did that do for you? Like in your relationship with God?
having all my faculties taken away from me.
Yeah.
It just reduced me down to who I am at my core, which is taking away my ability to to be a wife, to be a mother, to be like a working, competent, able to care for myself person, down to a helpless woman in a bed who can do nothing. Like she can't even think and she can't use her hands and she can't live her life. Like who are you when you have nothing left? You are a child of God.
And
And
that would be it.
he is
Here's,
there
yeah.
and he comes to you and he's just like a tidal wave of like love and peace and strength and power.
So that is beautiful. Obviously, let me make sure I acknowledge
I mean,
that
it's a
story
lot. I'm
because
sorry, it's a
no,
lot.
it's not that. It's like my brain is working and I'm like putting everything in and I'm like, wait, I don't want to like go past what you just told me and what you shared with me because that is so powerful. And I absolutely love number one, the way that you described everything is like you could go and give that the way that you presented that on like any stage and people would be in the audience, they'd be crying. They'd be like, this is beautiful because it's like there's so many great things in that and I'm glad I have a recording because I want to cut it out and show you and be like this is basically how I want you to present it to people because that is everything. So here's how I say it. I think that your beginning can be your pearls because is would you say your pearls are a place of joy?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's it because that would be that's your opening story is like I was so excited like I had so much conviction I was gonna turn like you can have maybe if you have a funny story you have something beautiful to share about pearls we can kind of talk about like that would how I see your opening
Okay, okay,
into your second part being your aneurysm and then you're like even though I had done like I thought I was doing everything almost right in a sense, and I had this company that was for Jesus. Even then, I had still a humbling moment. Even then, I still kind of was taken away, and I then realized like all I am at the end of the day is a child of God. Like there's nothing else. Everything else was taken from me. Everything that I built, even in his name, was
Yep.
taken from me. And
Yep.
then we can go into what those kind of five things that you mentioned were. And the reason why we want to go into something like that is we want to tell the audience, hey, this isn't just a fun story or a sad story for you to hear. Here's what I want you to do with this story. I
Yeah.
want you to go out. This has made me realize that this is what's important for pursuing a relationship with God. So we're going to talk about, how you did something like this, or like how you discovered to do something like this, how you did something like this, why they should do it, and what you want their next steps to be. So then you're going to summarize and be like, here's what I want you to do. I want you to start having that one-on-one relationship with God. I want you, the first step when you leave today is start, maybe you can say, journaling their intent. How are they going to do? I want you to be writing down right now, like, these five things I mentioned, start writing down how is that going to reflect in your life? And I want you to go do it because that's all I'm here for. It's not because of my story. It's because your relationship with God is the only thing I care about on this stage, and that's what you should do. So that's how I see the envision of like maybe your 45-minute keynote, but that is also can be like a 15-minute keynote. Tell me your thoughts.
Yeah. Yeah. I love it. I can start. The Milk Velvet Pearl story is a story that so many people resonate with.
Yeah,
When I opened up my shop, I just got flooded with responses from the whole world. Like
amazing.
people love the imagery of the pearl and beauty born from struggle, and so many people have overcome hardship. So that is a great place to start.
Mm-hmm.
And then I actually wrote in my journal the day that the aneurysm happened. That morning, I wrote, thank you, God. Thank you for my life. Thank you for the hardship that, you showed me your, I can't remember what I wrote, but anyway,
You have it. You have it.
I just said, thank you, God, thank you, Lord. Use me for your will and your glory. And then
Wow.
I went and I swam laps and I got in the shower and I was thinking about all this jewelry that I was going to make.
Yeah. And then
Bam.
that's so powerful. Wow. Like, that is incredible. I don't know any, like, I don't have words for stuff like this, there's like no good way to react to something like
Yeah.
this, but because it's like he and everything that he does is just so genuinely out of this like universe
Yeah.
that no words compare to what he gives us and what he does with us and how he does this because this is powerful stuff. Um, so that's what we're going to spend the probably next few days doing is that's the overview and we've kind of put a few pieces in place, like the first two pieces in place. Um, and then we can talk a little bit more about how do we want people to start sort of take this information and start pursuing that one-on-one relationship with God.
Hmm.
So how do you feel about today? Like, let's do a
Great.
quick recap. How do you feel about today? What we've worked on, what we've talked about? Does it make sense? Do you like it? Do you like this direction? Give
I
me a little
love the
bit.
idea of starting with something fun and pulling people in. That's exactly what we just saw last week, and I love it.
It's so funny that's the timing of that, but I'm so glad because that's, I was thinking really hard on how I want to do this with you, especially
Oh,
like how I want to teach you to do this because I know some things that have worked for me in the past. But my heart was just telling me like that is the way to open, and I think Sarah's gonna like that opening, and
yep.
I'm happy about that.
Yes, I
So
like it.
here's what we're gonna kind of work the homework that I'm gonna leave you with
Okay.
is that I think we had kind of talked a little bit about the sentence ages ago, like last, like that's kind of what we are talking about is having a sentence of clarity about your talk, right? So I'm gonna put it in the chat, but I am going to, if you can't save it or write it down, I can Facebook and email it to you, whichever way. But this is how I format our sentences. And the reason for having a sentence like this is it kind of guides your talk. So whenever you're writing something in your talk, you can't go off track because you remember, wait, I'm not going to talk about this. I want to, the most important part is like the relationship with God. So the way that I see this sentence for you is like, we say target audience. I don't know what, we can come back to that in a second. So let's say when lukewarm Christians practice the five things you mentioned, they can, um, you know, I don't know what the problem necessarily in words would be, but and and the transformation would be a one-on-one relationship with God. Does that make sense?
Hmm.
Do you have any questions about something about this sentence?
No.
Okay, cool. So, I will make sure I Facebook it to you so you can't lose it. And I want you to kind of just think about these four elements because that's really what's going to guide the way that we write your talk.
Okay. Okay. So
Okay.
you want me to fill in the blanks?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. It's as easy as that. So I'm gonna Facebook it to you, and you can come up with like I don't need you to come with me with one perfect. It's better if you have 10 that are kind of messy. Whatever words are coming to you, just write it down and we'll talk about it tomorrow. I
Okay.
don't want you to discount yourself. I don't want you to write anything off. I don't want you to be like, this doesn't make any sense. I don't want to like we never know what's kind of hiding in our ideas. There might be something good from one and then something good from 10 and something good from three, but if you only give me one, it'll be harder. So,
Okay.
whatever words come to you are good, and we're going to work on them.
Okay.
Awesome.
Fabulous.
So,
Thank
thank you
you.
so much, Sarah.
Yeah.
I am really, really excited. I'm glad we had a little bit of flexibility with time because I wanted to learn about what you were doing, and I really wanted to make sure you had an understanding of what I want to spend these next 2 days doing. So, and then also make sure that you had a little bit to think on, work on. So, I'm excited. I'm really looking forward to talking to you tomorrow. I think, let me double check. Tomorrow we're meeting at a different time, I'm pretty sure. Tomorrow we're meeting at 10. Does that still work for you?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All
Because I have a
right.
brother at 11.
Oh, love
And
it.
apparently it's going to be a surprise because I don't know what I'm doing.
Oh, I can tell you. And it'll be a 15-minute podcast interview. I think he has a few episodes. I can send you an episode if you want to look at what he has and
Okay. Okay.
you
Yeah,
can,
that'd be
but
great.
it's basically about his is more, I think, about finance.
Okay.
So basically like what advice do you have for other children who are entering the real world?
Okay.
Yes. So I can send you some of his podcast episodes. Um, and so you can kind of get a sense. I don't want you to feel like you're flying in blind.
Okay.
And he might have his own list of questions. So let me reach out to him and tell him to send those to you
Yeah.
so you know what's going on.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Okay.
thank you so much, Sarah. I appreciate it. And I will
Thank
see
you.
you tomorrow.
Bye.
Bye.